Oh, shit. That's not good. I have like a framed photo that was like propped up on my desk.
Yeah.
And it just like fell. Hopefully the glass didn't shatter. Hang on. Okay, cool. No cracks, no nothing. What fell down, it's actually a framed... I have to get it up here. I haven't yet because I'm too lazy. But it's a tee that Lauren Murphy signed for me, and I'm going to get it back up there.
Nice.
And she's fighting soon, so, you know, I'd be kind of a piece of shit if I don't hang that up. What is up, everybody? Is Tyler with Mom's Basement MMA, and I am freaking stoked about this next dude that is on, Jared Bad News Brown. This is a guy I've been wanting to talk to for a minute. He is a really nice looking guy right now, but let me tell you, man, like, this guy is a bad man. He is bad, and I'm gonna tell you why, and more importantly, I will show you why. Jared, welcome to the show, man. How are you doing? And
I'm doing good, man.
What's up with you, man? Like, what have you been up to since your most recent bout?
I'm doing good, man. So since my last fight, I've got a lot of awesome things going on right now. So I just purchased my own school, so I own my own martial arts academy now. So it was already what I did 24/7. I worked full time at my academy, but now I own it, run the academy and stuff like that. So that's super exciting. Got our affiliate. We're affiliated with Rafael Lovato Jr. now. So me and my teammate just got done doing some training down there today. Trained down there for about 3 hours today. So we just got back from that. Just staying busy training. I was out in Vegas a couple of weeks ago, training at Syndicate.
Nice.
Just getting ready to make my pro debut. So just staying busy training and getting ready for that debut.
That's wild because I had Kat Paprocki on yesterday, and she was at Syndicate not that long ago. I don't know if you saw her when you were there. And Serena De Jesus, she trains out of there. She's a 135er, and yeah, she's there. That's like her gym. So what prompted you to go to Syndicate of all places? Was it just to try something new, or how did that work out?
Well, my buddy Aaron McKenzie, if you don't know him, look him up. That man's legit. Was hoping he's on the short list for the UFC. So we're out there he was expecting a short notice call from the UFC. So we went out to Vegas for a week, and we're just chilling and training and staying ready for that fight in case they gave him the call.
Did it benefit you as a mixed martial artist training with like people that you don't typically train with?
Yeah, it's definitely always nice getting a different feel and like seeing how other people do it. Everybody trains differently, I feel like, or should, so it's always nice to see like how other people structure their training and like how they structure their classes. And now as a gym owner, it's cool to like go to a place like Syndicate, and I'm blessed to be able to train down at Rafael Lovato's academy, whenever I feel like it or whenever I want to. So being able to see how they run their academies and run their gyms and stuff, it's always cool. It's definitely always helpful.
Well, congratulations on getting your own gym. I think that's like a huge accomplishment, and a lot of people aren't in the position to do something like that. Like that takes a lot of coordination behind the scenes. That takes a lot of like signing up for things and making a bunch of long-term commitments. What motivated you to go down that path in particular? Was it just an opportunity that showed up, or how did that work?
I always consider myself an instructor first. I think like if you have an instructor mindset, then you never stop growing as a martial artist. And fighters have expiration dates, like you can't be an MMA fighter for the rest of your life. You gotta have that, exit plan and stuff. And to me, what like martial arts is about is like being able to pass the art on to the next generation and stuff. So, being able to pass on my knowledge and then bring people in to gain from their knowledge and stuff like that. It's just, it's all part of like the circle of life of martial arts, if you will. So, it's just part of the passion that I have for it. I love training, but I love coaching and instructing maybe even more. So
is that where you see yourself, like, long time, like, when you hang it up? Like, I know you're a young dude now, but the fact that you're thinking about this stuff right now, I think it's huge, because then once you get to my age, then you could sit back and, well, realistically, when you're my age, you probably aren't going to fight. Not competitively, anyway. But the sad part is some guys don't think that through. And then before they know it, they wake up and they're 36, 37 years old, and they're just like, Jesus Christ, like, I'm not as fast as I once was. I'm not as strong. Like, I don't heal up as good. And they don't have a plan. So is your plan to, like, coach and, like, be involved, like coaching fighters, like, at the UFC, at the Bellator level? Is that, like, something you aspire to do?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I definitely, for instance, my teammate Michael Dugan just had his amateur debut 2 months ago or a month ago, and knocked the kid out in 26 seconds. So that nothing gets me more excited than seeing the guys that I train and stuff be successful. But also nothing makes me more nervous. Like, I wouldn't even be able to compare the nerves to cornering to fighting, because I just, it's all out of your control at that point. And so, I'm so passionate about coaching and instructing that that's definitely where I see myself in the future is,
I think I could relate to that in my own small weird way. Doing this show and just having the fortune of speaking to fighters all over the country, you get to know these guys and gals, and then when you see them fight after you know them, it's way different. It is way different. Like I don't know, my hands get all sweaty, I get all shaky and stuff. It's freaking wild, man. And, like, what's even worse is two of the guests that have been on my show, they're fighting each other at LFA, like 115, like at the end of the month. So it's fucking wild.
Wow.
Yeah, it's freaking it's freaking wild. Jared, I wanted to ask you, I think Bad News is a freaking gangster name. Like, where did that come from?
So I spent my entire life playing football, and that was like a nickname that was given to me during like some portion of my high school career. I was just known for I was a headhunter, on the football field. So that's how they introduced me, and the name kind of stuck with me. And you always got to have a good nickname to market yourself. So
what, were you like a strong safety, just like taking people out? Was that you?
Exactly.
That is freaking fantastic, man. Well, there's one thing that I kind of wanted to ask you about. So for people who haven't seen you fight before, you're an undefeated amateur fighter, and you have been on the scene competitively, at least according to Tapology, since 2019. Now, I know that isn't always indicative. There might be a fight or two missing out of there. That's typically the case. But what was that light bulb switch that went off in your head that said, now's the time to start taking what I already know at a competitive level?
I knew being a competitor is just part of who I am. So I always knew that the competition, part of it was going to come. I just wasn't in a hurry to do it, because I think I knew, and I think my coaches knew as well, that, when we did this, we're really going to hit the ground running with it. I think that they saw the potential in myself, and I know that I saw the potential in myself. And so to us, it was like, hey, let's not rush into anything, and then let's set this up right, and let's do this the right way. And let's find tough competition. Let's go out there. Let's get tough fights. That's why we went to Las Vegas to fight. That's why we fought for promotions like Tough Enough and LFA, because we knew we were going to get good opponents. And so, to us, it was just, let's prepare, let's be over prepared. And then whenever we hit this thing, let's just hit it with both feet on the ground and full steam ahead, and not look back, and just, and so far, that's the way it's turned out. It seems like every time I win a fight, things just are exponentially grow for me. So that's the way I envisioned it happening. I believe in manifestation. So, I think I definitely manifested that. And so it was never like it wasn't like a rash decision or anything. It was definitely it's been planned. Everything in my career is going to be planned out. I'm not a guy to do things on a whim.
I got you. So the next question I had is, you're fucking huge. You're 6 feet tall, and you are a featherweight. I don't know how you make 145 pounds. Is that hard as hell for you, or like, because typically guys your size, I mean, it's a little bit more common to see guys at like 155, 70-ish. So like, how did you land at 145?
Yeah, I'm not 6 foot. I'm a 5'10". Like I'm 5'10" for sure. But I am a bigger featherweight. But the weight cut's not hard for me. I stay lean. I stay in shape. I don't ever let my weight get out of control or anything. So, I'm used to cutting weight from my wrestling experience and stuff. So, it's really not, the weight cut is not hard for me. It's definitely a challenge, you know. I think anybody that cuts weight has to admit to that. Nobody enjoys cutting weight. But, I think to be competitive at a certain level, you have to fight in your actual weight class. And it's unfortunate that I'm not a proponent of weight cutting. I wish we did hydration tests, and I wish everyone just fought at their natural weight. We get the same matchups, the same guys are fighting each other. You'd have better fights, all that stuff, I won't get on my soapbox about it, but
no, you're absolutely right though. Yeah. There should be a hydration test. Yeah. It's stupid. It's stupid. Yeah. It's like, why are we doing this? Because add on 10 to 15 pounds. That's what you're really fighting at. Because the scale might say 145 on Thursday, but like you're 155, 160 pounds when you're actually fighting. Yeah,
and I'm definitely get to about, I would say most of the time I'm in the cage of 163 to 165.
Sure. Yeah.
So, but 45. When I was at my first amateur fight, I probably cut 10 pounds to make 145, and naturally, just as you get older and as you start to figure out your body and stuff more, you put on a little muscle, you gain a little thickness naturally. So I think I'm just a little thicker and stuff than I was when my first fight. But I feel good. 145 is like, I definitely feel, I don't feel oversized for the weight class. Like I'm somebody who's like dying to cut the weight, and then I don't feel undersized ever. So I think I'm like just perfect right in the middle of size as far as 145 goes.
As you get older, would you consider a jump up to 55?
Yeah, Aaron McKenzie's a 155er, and I feel it in our wrestling and stuff right now. I feel the size difference, and there's definitely a build difference between us. He has a thicker frame and stuff. So I think right now I don't have the frame for 155. I would never be against it. I jokingly, and I put an emphasis on jokingly, tell people sometimes, I'm like, I'm about to cut down to 135 just to see what people's reactions are going to be. And I always get like this big shock and awe reaction. I'm like, I'm never doing that. But
you could probably hit the weight, but you'd be fucking miserable. Your performance would probably be terrible.
Yeah, like when TJ Dillashaw cut to 125, you could tell it was just, he was dead. He was dead. So it'd be the same thing. Yeah, no, I'm never doing that. 155, definitely I could see it in the distant future, but not today. 145 is my home, and I think that I like when guys that get into a weight class are dominant, successful, and then they stay at that weight class and they become, a hero of that weight class. So that's my goal. I want to be a 145 weight class and get the strap and hold the strap and be a 145er.
Well, you are dominating right now. I mean, I look at like the fights that you've had, and there's only one time some guy has lasted. I'm assuming in Oklahoma it's 3 rounds, 3 minutes. Is that it? Okay. Yeah. So one guy lasted the full 9 minutes with you, but all the rest of your fights, they don't last very long.
The guy that went the distance with me too, I think the final score was 30-24. So I 10-8'd him all 3 rounds.
I bet he had to have been a tough bastard, though.
I was looking for the ref to stop the fight the whole time, and I was still inexperienced to where I didn't quite know how to get the finish yet, to get a real finish. But I felt like the fight could have and should have been stopped. But, it is what it is. It's a dagger because it takes away from that 100% finish rate.
Sure.
But it was a learning experience at the same time. It taught me like, hey, when you hurt these guys, you got to go finish them. And you see it in the Jesse Robertson fight. When I hurt him, I went in for the kill, and that was my mistake against him. Was I had him hurt a bunch of times, and I just never finished the fight. I kept he was a wrestler and stuff, and so I knew he was going to die for my legs as soon as I went in to finish, and it wasn't that I didn't want to engage with him in the grappling. It's just I knew I could finish him on the feet, and so I kept just like, anyways. But yeah, so
let's talk about
what went down with that.
Let's talk about that fight for a second. I have watched that fight probably 5 times now, and there are a couple things that I see. So when I watch fights, I turn all the sound off, and I just like write shit out that I just see. And here's what I see. I see a tough dude, not you, him. I see him, he's a tough dude. He comes out there, and he just has this aura of confidence about him. Like, he's going in there, and he's thinking he's going to knock your ass out or tap you out in the first round. You could tell. You could tell. And I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he's like... I'm just looking off of his body language. He seems supremely confident. And you get in there, then they like pan to you, and you have this like stoicism about you. Like, you're like not like flamboyant, like there's like this like quiet confidence to you. At least that's what it looked like. You didn't seem like you were rattled, you didn't seem nervous. Maybe you were on the inside, but on the outside you certainly didn't look nervous. You just looked like, okay, like I'm gonna reality check this guy really quick. The fight starts, and this is why I smile every single time I see this. The fight starts, and I think like this guy just thinks like he's going to pretty much, it'll be like any other fight that he had. He took the center of the octagon, and then like you went right up there, and like it was just funny because like you did not back up an inch. It was almost like, no, this is my spot, bro. Like, this is where I stand. Like, I am going to knock you out of my spot. Start backing up. And like neither one of you were giving each other an inch. And then I think he got that first punch, and then he's like, oh shit, this guy's strong. And then he got on his bike, and then the rest is history. By my count, you heard him at least 4 times. Bad. And then it got stopped. Yeah. Like, when you look at that fight, like, what are some things that you notice?
I knew he had a lot of confidence coming into the fight. At the weigh-ins, we had a pretty intense face-off. So I was excited for that. People don't want to trade punches with me. I promise that I carry a lot of power. I carry a lot of power in my left hand, and I carry a lot of power in my lead hand too. And I'm a very good boxer. So to me, if you're trying to take the center of the octagon, if you want to stand toe to toe with me, that's perfect. That's fine with me, because you're not. Well, most guys can't outreach me, and then most guys don't carry the power that I carry either. So, when he came out and I kind of felt his energy, it doesn't take me long to find somebody's timing and their rhythm. And then once I've got your timing and your rhythm down, it's pretty much over with from there. And you see it because there's a lot of times where I split entry him. He goes to throw a punch, and he's getting countered on every single punch. And once I start punching you, you're better off just trying to shoot and take me down, because I'm pretty much just setting up my shots from there. And that was the thing I was most proud of in this fight, was I didn't step backwards, but I wasn't stalking him. So I wasn't just walking forward and chasing him. I was cutting the cage off. He was never able, he moved a lot, and so it made it awkward to kind of set up my combinations. But when he would set his feet, I knew every time he set his feet that he was gonna throw. And took me a second to kind of get the timing of his round kick. He had a good low kick. But once I changed the range of that, Pat Miletich says it on the commentary. He says, he's got southpaw tattooed on his chest, and he just let everyone know. And that's a fact. You don't want to be in range of that left hand. So, it went exactly how I wanted it to go. It was exactly how I envisioned it. Like I talked about manifestation, just manifesting it.
Did you break his nose?
Yeah.
That poor guy. But hey, he signed the contract. But, it is what it is, dude. It's just business. You go in there, and you get it done quick. And when you look, aside from Robertson, when you look at like your collection of 4 fights, like, what do you grade yourself? Like, when you like reflect generally on all those most recent fights, they're all recent from 2019 and on. Can you talk a little bit about, like, number one, how would you score yourself, and how much better are you today compared to that first fight in 2019?
Ooh, that's a hard question, because I'm my biggest critic by far. I watch that fight probably once a week at least, and there's still things that I'm like, got to do better. I had a broken foot in that fight too, because I usually throw a lot of kicks, especially my left like round kick to the body a lot. That was a bummer, you know, not really being able to throw kicks.
Which foot was it? So your left foot was broken?
Yeah, my back foot.
Okay, so you could have kicked him with your right foot though, but that's not your strong leg. So
yeah, and the way like it just the switch kick in the lead leg, I throw a lot of foot kicks with it, but I use it more as a jab, and so the range and stuff that he was fighting at, you know, just there wasn't a ton of opportunity for it. But anyways, yeah, you know, I think like in the moment that day I would score me, you know, a B+, A-, you know. But you know, today it's a C or a D. You know, I'm a different fighter right now than I was in March by a long shot. So
when do you have something like lined up? Like you didn't get hurt at all, you didn't get touched, and you're in shape all the time. Like when can people expect to like see you back out there?
Well, okay, so I've had 2 or 3 fights fall through and stuff. Hoping to get something definitely by the end of this year. You know, I definitely am making that pro debut by the end of this year. Right now it's looking like November. So November, hopefully for LFA. I'm a little picky on the promotions I fight for. I like fighting for in front of the most eyes as possible. You know, Tough Enough is probably the most premier amateur MMA promotion in the entire country. LFA, you know, is LFA, XFC. They put on an excellent show, excellent promotion. You know, so, and that was my first time getting to fight in front of my hometown crowd too. That was my first time fighting in Oklahoma, so that made it all that much better.
Right, and then LFA, most of those fights are in Oklahoma anyway, so that would, I don't know, like how, I would imagine it's probably a couple hours in the car for you, but that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, like Wichita from Stillwater is like an hour and a half or something, so it's like driving to Oklahoma City. So yeah, I love LFA does a lot of stuff in like the Midwest, and so I like to say there, you know, I have a business to run and I've got teammates and people to train and stuff. So, you know, I would prefer not to have to go to like Alaska or California or, you know, somewhere like that right this second. You know, eventually one day I'd like to go overseas and stuff, but
I tell you what, you're going to make a lot of people happy when they actually see you go in there. Like, I see you going into LFA or whatever promotion. It doesn't matter. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised. You'll make your pro debut. And honestly, I'm sensing it's going to look similar to Terrence McKinney. Like, you'll go out there and you're just going to start buzzing through guys right away. And I hope you don't stay in the LFA long. I hope you get bumped up, and I hope you go to like a big promotion like PFL, Bellator, or something like that, because you know, I watch a lot of fighters. I watch an obscene amount of fights. I won't say how many, but every day. I probably watch as much fights as like a regular fighter does. Like, and you have to, like, when you cover the sport, you have to. And you were one of the guys that I saw. I was like, this guy is a guy nobody knows about yet, but people are going to know. Like, a year, 2 years from now, people are going to look back and be like, this guy's a bad motherfucker. And I'll be the one to be like, yeah, I know. He was already on my show. I had him, and he's a freaking gangster. Where is it that you want to be? Like, do you have, like, of the big three, is there, like, one in particular? I know, like, you know, we're talking probably 12 to 18 months out at least, but, like, is there one promotion in particular? Like, do you already know in the back of your head, like, I definitely want to go to Bellator, I definitely want to go to UFC, or do you not care?
You know, for me, I always want, like I said, I always want to fight on the biggest stages possible. There's nothing bigger than the UFC. You know, the UFC is the pinnacle. People can make the arguments all day long, but, you know, the UFC is the UFC. So, you know, obviously that's the goal. But to be honest with you, I've always had this obsession with one championships. And, you know, I've told my management and I've told everyone, like, that's at one point in my career, whether it's the very end or the very beginning of my career, I want to fight for one championships. You know, I want to go over there. I love their rule sets. I love the way they do the weight cutting.
Well, I know they do the hydration tests.
I love the way they do the promotions. I love the fans over there, you know. And yeah. So, yeah, you know, one championship is like just one of those promotions that I'm just kind of a little obsessed with. And so I would love to fight overseas and fight for one.
Is I have two things for you before we go. And the first one is there a guy that you would want to fight, like, right now? Yeah, I think one would be dope, and you're probably, like, the first guy I've ever heard speak of, like, wanting to go overseas to fight. Like, I've never heard anyone talk about that yet, but I think that's freaking awesome, man. I like how they run their promotion, too. I think it'd be an opportunity. And if there's, like, one complaint I had about, like, the big three, PFL will be so much more gangster if they let you throw elbows.
Yeah. I love PFL. I always forget about PFL, which I hate to say that, but I do, just because, you always think of one Bellator, UFC.
Yeah.
But, PFL, they do such a great job. And I'm a huge Randy Couture fan, obviously, from being in Stillwater, and then just everything Randy does for the sports. He's such an advocate for the fighters and stuff, So I'm sure PFL is a phenomenal organization to fight for.
I love the fact that there's no fight politics really behind it. Like, there are politics to everything, but it's all outcome based. There's no, like, posturing or who can get on the mic and talk the best to get a fight. You are going to it's all on merit, man, and that's what's cool.
It should be.
That's exactly how it should be. And when I make that Rogan money and I start my own promotion, I'm gonna copy that format. I love the idea of it being completely outcome based, because you're gonna get the best fights naturally, or organically. You will get the best fights if it's all on merit. I wanted to ask you before I let you go, do you have, like, is there, like, a guy that you look at who's in the UFC or one of the big promotions, so you're just like, man, I really want to punch that guy, or man, I really want to fight that guy? Because for you, there's two guys I'd like you to fight, but I want to hear what you have to say first.
So, Max Holloway, not out of dislike for the man, but because I think he's one of the best boxers in the UFC, if not the best boxer in the UFC.
Sure.
So I'd love to fight Max Holloway, just because I think we would have an epic boxing match.
And he's a badass. Yeah, I mean...
And he's a bad dude, yeah. And he's, in my opinion, probably the featherweight GOAT. I think people sleep on him. But anyways, Max Holloway for sure. And then if I could fight anyone that's ever been in the UFC, Anderson Silva, if we were both the same size.
Man, Jesus Christ. Like, all my guys are not even close to that. You're talking about fighting goats. But I have a fight for you right now that is, like, I honestly think this fight's very realistic. Like, if you got the call to go to UFC, like, today, I'd make Chase Hooper fight you.
Yeah, I'll fight Chase Hooper. Tell him what's up.
I like Chase. I think he's talented, but I think, with all due respect to him, I don't know if the UFC is a good place for him to be right now.
His grappling is phenomenal. He's a phenomenal grappler, and he's like a spider web. He's so long and lanky. He just wraps around you and just kind of attacks you like that. I haven't seen him fight too recently. I think I've missed his last UFC fight, maybe his last two. I don't know how many he's had now, but I remember watching him on the Contender Series.
He fought Alex Caceres last, and Alex Caceres fucked him up bad. Bad. Oh god, yeah, it was bad. I like Chase. I think he's a young, talented guy, but it just, like, I think he's a good case study though for ammies that are out there, or guys that are even pro and they're thinking about making the leap. It's like, take your time, man. Like, I know everyone wants to get paid. I understand that, and I don't blame any fighter for wanting to get paid, because I know how impossible it is. I know how impossible it is to be in the fight business and live off being in the fight business. I get it. But at the same time, you make that jump too early, and you're in the UFC, and all of a sudden you're fighting against, like, TJ Brown and, like, these bad motherfuckers that have been in the game for a while.
Yeah, and they say, like, getting in the UFC is hard, but there's nothing harder than getting back in the UFC, So a lot of these guys rush it, get cut, and the next thing you know, they're, but you look, there's, like, Brandon Moreno he's the guy that got cut by the UFC, went to LFA, won the strap, and then now look at him. So it's definitely possible. It's just, why make it harder than it has to be?
Exactly, and it is hard. You're right. I know a couple guys that are trying to work their way back in right now. One of them just won the heavyweight belt for Fury, Juan Adams, and I think he said to me, he's still probably like a fight or two. Like they want to see more. I'm like, dude, you just won the strap in Fury. He's like, yeah, but like I have to like. He's like, winning isn't good enough to get in the UFC. It's how you win.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's why I like the way I fight. You know, I fight to put people away. It's not a secret when I go out there, gonna hit you with big shots, and I'm trying to put you to sleep. So
before I let you go, Jared, I want to give you the opportunity. Were there did you want to talk about your gym or any sponsors or anything like that you want us to know about?
Yeah, so if you're ever in Stillwater, Oklahoma, you know, come by Elite Combat Systems. That's where I train at. That's the academy that I own. I couldn't do what I do without them. They help me out a bunch. BAS Nutrition, if you're looking for supplements or anything like that, holler at BAS Nutrition, Badass Supplements. They do a great job. Who else? Just couple of my training partners, Michael Dugan and McKenzie. What's up? If you guys actually listen to this, you should. I told you to. You better listen. Guys.
And I have, and hopefully I don't make the promotion that you were with pissed off at me, but I grabbed your fight, and I have some clips that we're going to show of your most recent bout against Jesse Robertson right after this. So when people are watching this on YouTube, like, before they even start seeing you do your work, what is it that you want people to know about you? Like, whether it be your fighting style or like what's going on in your head, like for the people that are about to see you fight right now, right in like 2 seconds after you get done speaking, what do you want them to know when they are watching that?
Well, you said earlier, you know, that I have like some level of like stoicism about me, and I appreciate that. That's my goal for the most part. But yeah, you know, there's obviously everyone gets nervous before a fight, but as soon as I get into the cage, it's like, it's gone, you know? So there's two things going through my head whenever I fight. Breathe and slip and rip. So if you're watching me fight, don't blink, because all it takes is one shot.